Hello everyone, my name is Frances Goodrum, Head of External Affairs at Brooke Action for Working Horses and Donkeys. I'll be introducing our presentation and then swiftly handing over to Samuel Theuri, who manages our advocacy work in Brooke East Africa, and then Carine Bambara, who manages our work in the UK. Brooke is an international animal welfare charity dedicated to improving the lives of working horses, donkeys and mules. We operate across Africa, Asia, Central and Latin America and the Middle East, reaching millions of working animals. Today we are going to discuss the donkey skin trade with a particular focus on Kenya. But before we start, I want to offer some context. Thousands of donkeys are slaughtered for their skins and exported annually, mostly from Africa, causing donkey numbers across the continent to decimate. This is driven by demand for a jiao, a gelatin used in traditional Chinese medicine and produced by boiling donkey skins. Donkeys are often stolen from families who depend on them for their livelihoods, families who may be struggling and living below the poverty line. Brooke is calling for a ban on the exportation of donkey skins and trade as a whole in the countries affected. This issue has been particularly acute in Kenya, with cross-border smuggling of donkeys, donkey theft and bush slaughter, welfare concerns and a negative impact on communities who rely on donkeys, which my colleague Sam will talk about today. I want to thank On Welfare World for the opportunity to talk today about one of the gravest challenges we at Brooke believe working donkeys are facing. I also want to add that we work closely in partnership on this with many of the attendees here today. Partnership is a critical tenet of our approach and indeed a concerted On Welfare response. And on that note, I'm now going to hand over to Sam to take you through a bit more information around our work in Kenya.
In this presentation, we will share the following. One, why donkey slaughter for the skin trade is a crisis and a concern in Kenya. We look at one welfare and policy challenges posed by the trade, and we'll also look at collective action to address the situation and briefly talk to you about the status at present. Since 2016, when Kenya licensed donkey slaughter, donkeys have since been slaughtered legally in the slaughterhouses and in the bushes for their skins. It is important to note that between 2016, April, and November 2018, Kenya licensed 4 slaughterhouses that are located in areas deemed to have high donkey population. And this is in Turkana, Baringo, Nakuru, and Machakos counties. Note that between that time, April 2016 and December 2018, over 300,000 were killed in the 4 slaughterhouses. This number does not account for donkeys killed in the bush and their skins taken away. Donkey slaughter has not been without serious animal welfare concerns in the value chain, including animals being walked hundreds of kilometers without water and feed, leading to donkeys dying en route, and also inhumane killings at the slaughterhouses. At the slaughterhouses, there are also serious environmental concerns. This includes poor waste management and serious bad smells from the slaughterhouses, and also recognizing that carcasses that are left on the road and also the ones that are skinned are left in the open rot. Of greater concern is the indiscriminate slaughter of donkeys that has seen donkeys that are young, donkeys that are pregnant, and a lot of female donkeys being slaughtered. Why is donkey slaughter for skin trade a one welfare concern? One welfare concern concerns the link between animal welfare, human well-being, biodiversity, and the environment. In this case, evidence shows that donkey slaughter, the rate of extraction of donkey species is threatening the existence of a unique species, that is the donkey. It has also has serious people impact in that the livelihood of dependent communities is at stake when the species is threatened and from theft of their working donkeys. How is it a threat to the environment? the trade has a huge potential for spreading diseases, and also it has an impact on the environment from the pollution. We will see more of this evidence in the next slide. Donkeys were declared in Kenya as a food animal in the year 1999 through a legal notice number 146. With the increasing demand for skins and products, the investors exploited this legal loophole and applied for operating licenses. Between April 2016 and November 2018, 4 export slaughterhouses were operationalized. These mega abattoirs have a combined potential of killing over 1,000 donkeys per day. It is important to note that during the year 2016, when the first slaughterhouse was started, the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock released data showing that Kenya had approximately 1.9 million donkeys, and this was up from 1.8 million donkeys as had been shown in the census of 2009. This will translate into a growth rate of approximately 1.04% per annum. But between April 2016 and December 2018, over 300,000 donkeys were killed. This number amounted to a yearly slaughter rate of 5.1%, higher than the population growth rate of 1.04%. In 2019, the national census showed that the donkey stock had reduced to about 1.1 million, which is about 67% reduction between 2016 and 2019. This is alarming. To meet the increasing demands, traders have had to import donkeys, often through illegal routes across countries, raising the risk of diseases such as African horse sickness and anthrax. These are recognized as being endemic in some of these countries. Donkey theft has far-reaching negative consequences on the owners that depend on the donkeys as a livelihood option. Reduction in donkey population impacts heavily on remaining working donkeys because they have to work harder to fill the gap, leading to welfare issues. Loss of working donkeys have led to negative impacts to adolescent girls, pregnant women and mothers with small children who have to undertake household transport using their backs, impacting on their health and development. In the process of this campaign, Brooke East Africa has been working in partnership with other like-minded institutions and organizations, both local, national, and international, recognizing that working together is the way to address the challenge posed by slaughter of donkeys for the skin trade. This has been through generation of evidence. This has from research, case studies, curating theft reports and surveillance reports, and also empowering communities to voice their concerns to the government. And this has been through community processions, media messages, and case reports, and also through lobbying government. This has yielded some results, including the following. The government issued a statement in the year 2020 banning the slaughter of donkeys in Kenya. Later in April, the government issued a legal notice number 63 that revoked the export licenses for the slaughterhouses. And also on several occasions, there has been public declaration by the ministry of the government commitment to protect donkey species and livelihoods of donkey-dependent communities. These milestones have not been without challenges. The investors have since moved to court, the Kenya High Court, to lift the ban, citing the government decision to ban impacted on their constitutional rights. The government have not issued a license since. Over to you, Carine.
And we have identified as Brooke a number of recommendations for countries affected by the donkey skin trade through the research and experience of our colleagues in West Africa and East Africa and Ethiopia. So we're asking policymakers in affected countries to introduce legislation to ban all trade in donkey skins for the production of a jowl and to take measures to enforce such a ban, including illegal cross-border trade. We are asking them to reinforce and uphold bans and other legal sanctions on the trade in countries where they already exist, as a number of countries, once they realized the impact that the trade was having on donkey populations in their countries, have already put a ban in place. But we want them to reinforce and uphold these bans with sanctions in place for those who contravene the ban. Acknowledge the lifelong value of working donkeys as a livelihood asset by explicitly including them in national livestock surveys and policies and taking tangible steps to safeguard them. As many countries will regularly conduct a national livestock survey, but will not always include working horses, donkeys, and mules and disaggregate the data on these livestock species. We would like policymakers to improve the health and welfare of donkeys in slaughterhouses, transportation, and holding facilities through the application of OIE standards, especially Chapter 7 of the OIE standards relating to working donkeys, horses, and mules. And we also want policymakers to strengthen the resilience of local communities to donkey theft through supporting protection initiatives. These must be community-driven and politically backed to encourage local people to ensure measures are sustainable and practical. We have some recommendations for global policymakers and influencers too. We would like them to recognise the threat posed by the donkey skin trade in rural communities that rely on working donkeys as a key livelihood asset, which provide traction and transport as a significant development concern. And we want them to lobby and support counterparts in countries affected by the trade to impose legal sanctions to curtail the impact of the donkey skin trade. So in many countries that Brooke works in, we've seen that when a person loses their donkey or their working animal, they themselves have an increased workload to carry. And as you can see in this picture, this burden of workload is often increased upon women. This is why this issue is affecting so many people who depend on working donkeys, horses, and mules for their livelihood. Thank you so much for listening to our presentation. If you would like to hear more about this work that we are doing on the donkey skin trade, we have the contact of our colleagues from the East Africa office on the bottom right hand side of this screen. Thank you very much.